appreciate it. This
Thank
has
you for
been
having me.
it's just interesting how life brings people together. Like you said food port on one of the things, like because a guy couldn't figure out the words to say, and
Oh,
then
the bean slap.
yeah,
Yes, the bean slap.
yeah. And then so I was like, who is this guy? And then I went and looked, and I found one of your reels, and I liked what you were saying on it about like childhood stuff, and I was like, let's hear this dude's story. And then come to find out you're from the same area, so I think I just said like I'd love to hear your story one day, and then I just messaged you, and yeah, you were in the same area. I was like, perfect.
Yeah. I live maybe 10 minutes away from here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, if it wasn't for construction, anyways.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, I liked your videos. I personally like I was telling you before, I don't hold it against law enforcement for me being incarcerated or any of that stuff. So I'm actually interested in what it's like from the other side as well, right? Like I lived through the prisoner experience. Um, I have family that were guards out there and that are law enforcement here in the valley, but we don't really talk. So I don't get it from their perspective. But watching and seeing what you guys, just normal guys, like honestly, you guys are like a DUI away from being one of us, basically, right?
Yeah,
So
that's what we say. Or
yeah,
we should have been caught a couple times.
yeah. So I mean, honestly, like just regular guys. I don't hold a grudge against like COs from out there. There's a couple that I don't like. If CO Sergeant ever sees this, fuck you, you know. But um, honestly, like I don't hold a grudge. I know it was my fault. I was locked up.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing in life is just taking ownership. Like, I'm sure some of us were dealt a bad hand, as we'll go over in a little bit. But at the end of the day, like, you got to play with the hand you're dealt and use that as an advantage.
I
Like,
agree.
a lot of the chaos that people have gone through as their childhood, they can use that for some powerful stuff later on in life and then help others that are going through stuff. So,
Yeah, I've noticed like in high stress situations, some people might say tragedies. I feel like I handle myself better than most people do. And I think it's probably, like you said, from some of the things that I had to go through when I was younger.
yeah, your baseline of chaos is so much higher than everybody else's.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so it's Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. Well, let's just start back from where are you from, man?
I was born in Asotin, Washington, which is literally like you can pick up a rock and throw it from Lewiston to Asotin,
Okay.
Lewiston, Idaho to Asotin, Washington. My family actually lived in Winchester, Idaho. I think they were just shopping or something when my mom happened to go into labor with me. Um, the town that we lived in, Winchester, was very, very small town still, but we lived in like the very first house ever built in Winchester. It was a old rock house. Um, that house burned down, so my family had to move. And I don't know if it was the stress of that or what, but my parents decided to split at that time. But my father was super abusive to my mother anyway, so I guess you could say it was probably more likely that. Um, my mom moved around from town to town to town, all over the Pacific Northwest for about the next 6 years, just like trying to get away from my dad. And um, she eventually got married to a guy named Mike. He's a pretty cool cat, but didn't really want kids. And so, even though she knew my dad was incredibly abusive, she was like, got rid of us to my dad. And man, that, like, looking back on it, that was hell. Like, my dad was super abusive. He didn't have a right hand. He had cut it off in a sawmill when he was like 21. And he would beat people with that hook on a regular basis. Like, it's kind of weird because the hook had a cast, right? And the hook could plug into the cast. So he'd take the hook out sometimes and beat the crap out of you with the cast, which is like still steel,
Right.
and then claim he's not beating you with the, it's beating you with the hook, right?
Yeah.
So that started at like, I think I was 6.
Really?
Yeah. My mom sent me to live with him, me and my older brother. So I'm the youngest of 7. Only one of them's full-blooded sibling. And my mom sent the two of us to go live with my father at that time. And that was in Hermiston, Oregon. And he already had my three sisters and one brother living with him at the time. And when we showed up there, it was really, really apparent that we weren't wanted, that it was just required of them to let us be there.
Just that you two weren't wanted.
Yeah,
The others were welcome, but you weren't.
right. And I mean, it was hell for like, I want to say 2 years, just being treated like dogs by all the other siblings, their mom, my dad, all of it, right? But something happened. I'm almost certain it's just my dad flipped out and beat their mom really bad one night because we woke up and they were all gone. The bad part of that is then he doesn't have anybody else to focus on.
Yeah.
I know that sounds bad, right? But when there's 6 kids versus 2, you can spread those beatings out a little bit.
Yeah.
When those kids left, it got really, really bad. And on Christmas Eve, when I was 8 years old, I should back up. My dad let us smoke, drink, whatever we wanted at that age, right?
At 8 years old?
At 6 to 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my brother is 3 years older than me, and I would follow him around like a puppy dog back then. But yeah, my dad would let us, like, I'd get sick all the time drinking, trying to drink with my brother. We smoked all the time, like packs of cigarettes, not a problem. I remember going down to the store trying to get cigarettes, and the guy's like, I can't sell you cigarettes, you're kids. And we were like, we're getting them for our dad. He's like, oh, okay. Sell us cigarettes. This is,
Yeah.
I'm 46 now, but,
In a small town?
yeah, in Hermiston, Oregon, you know what I mean? And so we smoked, no big deal. Well, on Christmas Eve one night, my dad had left his pack of cigarettes out. He and his new girlfriend were in the back doing their thing. Me and my brother were playing video games all night, right? And we saw the cigarettes. We took a couple cigarettes. Well, he came out. Apparently, he had counted the cigarettes before he left them there. And he's like, I want my cigarettes back. And we smoked like 5 or 6 cigarettes. We're like, we smoked them. He didn't believe us. And he's like, I'll tell you what. If those cigarettes aren't back out here when I come out in half an hour, then I'm going to do to you what I'm going to do to your Nintendo. And he went over and he took his hook and he pounded that thing into like tons and tons of pieces, right? And slapping us around, kicking us the whole time, screaming at us, right?
On Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve, yeah. And at the time, we were staying at his friend's house in Hat Rock State Park, which is just outside of Hermiston. And me and my brother were so scared, we were like, we're going to leave. Like, we're not taking this beating. This is one that's going to be too bad, So we decided we're going to run away. But my shoes are in the bedroom with my dad. And it's Christmas Eve. It's middle of winter in freaking Oregon. It is freezing. But we did it anyways. We ran in the snow all the way back to Hermiston, Oregon from Hat Rock. And I don't know, like, I think it's 11 miles maybe or whatever. But went to a friend's house and called my mom and finally got my mom to come and pick us up on Christmas Day. But yeah, it was really, really scary. And we'd been pretty badly beat. By that point, we had been beat on a lot. I'd watched my brother get 1x4s broken over his back. I'd been choked unconscious I don't know how many times. And my mom wasn't a great mom, I'll be honest, right? But she wasn't physically abusive, like beat the crap out of us. That was really the introduction to it. From there, went back to my mom's house, but now we have behavioral problems, like I think a month after my mom came and picked us up, my brother caught one of, I think it was me, had stolen cigarettes from my mom or her husband. And my brother found it, my older brother, not my blood brother, but my half brother.
Your blood brother was the one that you ran away with?
Yeah. So me and DJ, my blood brother, we were thick as thieves for a long time. Jeff, my older brother, has a different dad, kind of grew up different than we did. And really, like, we just didn't get along at the time, you know. And he would catch us and rat us out to our parents and stuff. But I think it was like about a month after we got back, my brother went off the rails. Like, my blood brother started breaking into places, doing all kinds of crazy crap, and I'm right there with him. You know, I'm following him around. So he goes to juvie for breaking into a school and a few houses. Right. Honestly, during that probably 3 years, life's pretty good for me. I'm enrolled in sports. I'm doing good in school.
When your brother's in juvie?
Yeah. And like, I'm the only kid at home now. My other brother, he's off in college or living with his dad or something. I don't remember exactly. And the other four siblings never lived at my mom's. Like, they never went to my mom's or anything like that because they were from a different woman. So life was pretty good for me for about 3 years. Started doing decent school, you know, enrolled in sports. But then something happens between my mom and her husband. And again, he doesn't want me there. So again, my mom decides that I got to go. And she sent me to live with my dad.
How does that go down? Your mom just says you need to leave, or talks to your dad first and gets you to go, or were you seeing your dad at all at any of this times, like visitation?
No, but I'd been seeing my brother DJ. And the way that that was arranged was basically he had gotten out of juvie to go live with my dad. So my dad would like bring him, drop him off at a friend's house, and then DJ would come and visit us. Right? Then DJ would go back to his friend's house, take off with my dad. So I got to hang out with DJ. I didn't want to be around my dad. Like, that's why I didn't go like hang out with him. I was scared of my dad. Like, scared of my dad. And yeah, just my mom called me into the room one day and said, "Hey, Mike doesn't want you here anymore. You got to go." I'm like, "Where am I going to go?" She's like, "Your dad's on his way to pick you up." So I was like, "Oh, damn. You know, here we go again." But I knew my brother was living with him. And so I was talking to my brother on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, it's, you know, it's good. He's changed, blah, blah, blah." I knew it was bullshit. Like, in my heart, you know.
Yeah.
But man, I loved my brother too, you know, and I wanted to be around my brother, and so I was like, yeah, screw it. But I don't think it was 2 days before I got knocked out by my dad, like knocked unconscious. Um, and I remember what it was about. Like, when they took me to live, my dad lived in a camper trailer, man. You know, like, and he lived in a camper trailer behind my uncle's house. So he's hooked up to my uncle's electricity, and I guess he and my uncle had had some kind of argument in the past about the amount of electricity my dad was using. So when I got there, bedtime, we all go into the camper trailer. It's freaking hot. Hey, dude has a heater cranked up, has a gas stove burning for extra heat in there. I can't sleep, it's so hot. So I go in the house. I'm just gonna watch TV. My uncle's like, "Hey, it's late. What are you doing? Why aren't you out there sleeping?" I was like, "Oh man, it's too hot. I can't sleep." I didn't know about this argument before, you know.
Yeah.
But dude, my uncle went on, yanked open the camper doors, started screaming at my dad. I didn't know this before this, but my dad was scared shitless of my uncle. Bro, when that door came flying open and my uncle started screaming, my dad was, "Yes, yeah, okay, okay." I ain't never seen nothing like that, right? And so I was like, "Oh, I'm dead." I knew right then and there. I was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have told my uncle anything about the heat in the camper." And sure as shit, my uncle said, "You let me know if he gives you any shit." And he turned around and he walked, and I turned to go in, and my father knocked me out cold. unconscious, one punch, like
How old are you at this time?
11.
Jeez.
Um,
What'd your uncle do about that? Did he take
Nothing. I don't know if they even had words at that point.
right? You're unconscious.
Yeah, I was out for a while. And when I woke up, I was still out in the grass, and my brother and my dad had gone back into the camper trailer. And so like I thought about running away, man, but I was too scared to, honestly. Um, and when I was watching your video, like when you're trying to explain to that guy why you never told people, or I guess it was his video, but you were on it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
chaos something.
Yeah, Wild Chaos.
Yeah. Like I totally got it. The moment he asked that, I was like, he don't get it. This is fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like when you're being abused by somebody and they have that much control over you, it's scary, man. You know, I was so scared of my father that when he got mad, I couldn't move. Like my brother DJ would run. God, like I always like, oh God, I wish I could run because he would see my dad get like he would see it coming, and DJ was gone, like smoke in the wind, just gone. I couldn't move. I couldn't make myself move, so I'd just stand there and take it. That's the way it was for years. So at 11, like it started again, right? But I think I was 12 years old, 12 or 13, when DJ was like, I'm gone for good, you know? But that meant that I was the only one left. And,
Just you and your dad in the camper trailer.
well, like, so my dad, it wasn't always in the camper trailer either. I should be clear about that. Like, there were good moments and bad moments. My dad was a dope cook, you know, and he ran around with a motor club a lot of the time. And so we that's why we were in a camper, moving around doing that. But when he wasn't able to do that, then he'd have to go get a job, and we would live in an actual apartment or trailer house, or sometimes in the camper trailer, but actually have food for a week, or you know what I mean? Like it it changed all the time because he was constantly trying to figure out how to feed his habit without having to really work at it.
So were you always around when he was cooking? What was it, methamphetamine? Right?
Yeah, it was crank. So like meth was like the good shit that came after crank, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I never got too far into drugs. What's the difference? I guess is
So pretty much the difference would be the ingredients and quality.
okay.
They called crank back in the day because bikers stored it in the crankcase of their motorcycles
Oh, okay.
so that they wouldn't get busted with it.
Yeah.
Um, it was there was a lot of different ingredients used to make it.
Yeah.
It was really unhealthy, like nasty
Right.
crap. Meth came along, right? Meth was more pure, higher quality stuff, so crank kind of went to the side, but essentially the same stuff as nose candy.
Did you see him cooking it? Like, was it around you, or you just
Yeah,
knew that he was
yeah, I
doing
used to
it?
steal it from him and stuff all the time.
Really?
Yeah, so that was the one thing that I don't. It sounds stupid, but to credit my dad with, that was the one thing he wouldn't give me. Like, wouldn't sit there and watch me do. Like, I could smoke weed, I could drink, I could smoke cigarettes, um, did mushrooms in front of my dad, but meth was something that he was always like, no, nope. He wouldn't even talk to me about it. And
Did
for a
he do
long
it
time,
himself?
oh yeah, yeah. That's why I feel like that's probably why he was so bipolar. He's just constantly trying to find his next fix. Um, he wasn't a big dude, but man, he was meaner and shit. He was scary, like super scary, because you just never knew what he was gonna do. It's like having a mean dog that you know is gonna snap at you eventually in the room with you all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's horrible.
What was your first experience with the drug making then? Like, how early in life were you exposed to that? Was this
I
something
think
he
that
was
was when we were in Hermiston.
really?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think that I know I wasn't doing it back then, like doing it on a regular. I don't think I ever did it back then, but I may have. I just don't remember doing it until I was like 12.
Did your mom know what she was sending you into with that part of the drugs? She knew about the anger, but does she know about like the drug part?
Man, that's a good question, right? Like I don't know because my mom's not really honest about the past, you know.
They have a skewed version of what you've seen.
She just likes to fabricate it to try and make it to where it's not as bad as it was on her end, honestly. Um, I love I love my mom. I love my dad too. Like he was a horrible person, but I guess I'm just that dumb, you know, like I still have a place for him in my heart. Um, my mom, she's still alive, but it's hard to be mad at her, dude. Like my mom has been incapacitated since I was 17 years old. Um, she had an aneurysm in her brain, and if I should back up and be more fair to my mom and say the whole time that she was sending me off to live with my dad and her husband didn't want us around, she was also dealing with a lot of health issues. Right? She had a brain tumor removed. She had gone deaf in 1 year. Like she had a lot going on. Doesn't justify it in
Yeah.
my eyes, but she did have a lot going on, and I imagine her husband was like, "Ugh, 6 months into this shit, you know, like now I'm supposed to be the dad to these two freaking brats while you're gone getting brain surgery and shit."
Yeah.
So I whole lot of you know, I guess I'm not very fair in that I don't try to see it from their perspective, but at the same time, like, she wasn't a great mom.
Yeah.
You know, she knew about the abuse. I don't know if she knew about the drugs for sure or not, but I don't see how you couldn't know.
Yeah.
So
Did your dad ever have like a criminal history of drugs or anything like that? Was he pretty good at hiding stuff?
I don't. He didn't hide squat, man. They just didn't do shit to him.
Oh,
Like
really?
it was so crazy to me. The child abuse, so many DUIs. That like, dude, my dad was pulled over so many times. Absolutely, just all over the place on the road, slam drunk, and they follow him home. You know, like the world was completely different, and that's. I think a lot of people now don't think that the abuse is still as rampant in the world today because the world's changed so much, but it is.
Yeah, it's still definitely there.
Yeah, it's just different ways of getting away with it, but they still get away with it.
Yeah. So you're 11 years old, and then your dad just said you can't. He didn't care what else you did, but no meth. And then what else?
Um, you know, my dad, both my parents been married several times, but my dad had this way of like manipulating women into accepting a trailer house life, I guess, or not even a trailer house, camp trailer life. And he would move women and their children in, and then it was like, where do I go? Oh, you can sleep in the tent outside. And that was the coldest, worst experience ever because by now we moved around so much. We're in southern Idaho, like southeastern Idaho. Do you know where Lava Hot Springs is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so between Pocatello and Lava Hot Springs, there's a little town called McCammon. McCammon is literally just in this valley of cold shit in the wintertime. It's horrible, is like super frigid area. And that's where we lived. And I stayed in the tent outside of it for 2 years. And then when I was 14, my dad had married yet another woman. And we moved into a trailer house in Lava Hot Springs. And one night, her son woke me up crying, saying, "Your dad's killing my mom." I look out the door, and sure as shit, he's got her knocked out, and he's just choking her. He's like, he's on top of her to where she can't even move, but she's already unconscious, and he's not moving. He's still on top of her, choking her. So I didn't know what to do, and kind of freaked out and ran and pushed him off. And as soon as I pushed him off, he looked up. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, just gave him a solid one. and he hit the ground. But as soon as he did, he started popping up. And I knew he was gonna kill me, so I ran. I ran away at 14 and never went back. Um, I never saw my father again after that.
Wow.
Like, I went to juvie. Like, after I ran away, I was sleeping under a park bench in the park in Lava Hot Springs. I had taken a tarp and basically just made it into a tent by putting it over that. And I was like, I got to do something different. Like, this sucks, and I'm not gonna keep doing this. Winter's coming. So, bro, I started robbing places. I was,
At 14?
yeah, I was breaking into places. I knew who owned businesses in the community, and I'd wait for them to leave, and then I'd go break into their house. I did a couple of home invasions, like armed home invasions. Um, I was horrible. I eventually went and stole a bunch of dope from my dad's house when he wasn't home and was out selling that. Apparently, some guy didn't like the quality of it or something. But he started a bunch of shit with me and told everybody he was going to kill me and all kinds of stuff. And mind you, at 14 years old, I was pretty wild, bro. Like, I didn't care if you were an adult. If you wanted to scrap, we could scrap. The only person I wouldn't fight was my dad. Like, I was too scared of him, right? But I was doing all kinds of crazy crap, like going to bars and beating people up in bars that owed me money for dope at 14 years old. At the Green Tea in Pocatello. Um, and then one guy owed me some money, so I beat him down really bad, and then I burned his car to the ground. And that was kind of it. The cops were looking for me. I was hiding out in different people's places, sleeping on the couch and whatnot, and eventually got caught and went to juvie. Um, I stayed in juvie until I was 17. Met a lot of Norteños from here in Nampa back then in juvie. And when I got out of juvie, I started hanging out with all them and just got in a lot more trouble.
Where'd you get a gun at and everything when you were 14? Did you just steal it from your dad or something?
I broke into a. So I'm still friends with the guy, actually. I was friends with this cat, and he's like, hey, my dad's got a shitload of guns. Like, if you steal them, we'll get all the insurance money. And then you can just split whatever you get them for him with me, and we'll call it good. And I was like, cool. So we went and robbed his dad's house. Basically, just opened the door and loaded all the guns in the back of my car. I got caught with all those guns too when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that at the same time that you got arrested for the
Yeah, I got
arson?
busted for everything at once. And this is actually kind of a wild story. So I'd taken my dad's dope and, you trade up. So it's all about trying to make money. And I couldn't get any more dope. So I took that money and I went to Salt Lake and I got a bunch of acid. And I was selling that over in that area. And I was super high on acid. I was tripping balls. I was at my friend's farmhouse between Lava Hot Springs and McCammon, sitting on the porch, and I was like, "Oh man, look at that storm!" And you see this cloud coming, and you can see all like lightning strikes in it. I was like, "That's crazy! It's coming right up the road, bro." Like, I think I'm all cool. It's not a, it's not a storm. It's a cloud of dust from all the police vehicles because there's 15 ATF, FBI, and local law enforcement vehicles all coming up. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, shit.
As soon as I saw the first car come through the dust, I was like, oh, my friend owned a ranch. So I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to run out and I'm going to get on this horse and I'm going to get away. And I got on the horse and I started riding, and you could see ATF coming out of the woods on horseback. Like, they knew where I was at. They had been watching me for days, and they came and got me.
Wow. What an arrest story. Jeez.
So when I got arrested and they took me in, I got 13 counts of grand theft for the firearms. I got
That's
battery,
why ATF
I got
was,
arson, I got possession, I got a bunch of different robberies. So when I went in at 14, like, I knew I was gonna be there basically until I was 18. You know, bro. In a way, I think I was thankful for it because then I knew my dad couldn't come beat me up and shit.
And at least you had a roof over your head.
Yeah, so I did basically the next 3 years in juvie, and about 4 months before I turned 18, I got out. But they sent me to live with my mom. She had gotten a divorce by then and was living on her own. And so I kind of thought it was going to work out because then it's just me and my mom and not all the other drama. So I went to Ontario, Oregon, and started high school there. And I think it was 2, maybe 3 months later, my mom had an aneurysm in her brain, and she had to go to Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, and she would be there for the next 8 months, basically trying to get her brain right, be able to walk again, all that stuff. 2 weeks after she had her aneurysm, though, my father drowned to death. So it might have been a week, but no more than 2 weeks. So then I was like, oh, crap, I'm homeless. And then my PO came. And he's like, hey, either you have a place to live or you got to go back to juvie. And I was like, I don't want to go back to juvie. So I said, screw this. And I went to work on a fishing boat in Alaska.
At 17 years old?
Yeah, man, it was kind of wild, but I'd been going around like applying for jobs at ranches.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping to get a job where I could work and live there.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was bouncing around from friend to friend's couch, and somebody said, hey, why don't you do the fishing boat? The fishing boat, you can live there, you make a shitload of money, you can't spend it because you're out at sea. It might work out for you. So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But this was 1997, bro. And the internet wasn't really that big of a thing back then. So all the information wasn't on it yet. And there was no like, how do you get a job on a fishing boat?
Right.
So I just got plane tickets and I went to Dutch Harbor, Alaska, not realizing how freaking cold it is. And nobody would give me a job. So I walked up and down the docks for a week before finally somebody gave me a job.
Where were you staying at?
I was literally staying in my tent on the shore.
In the middle? Was this wintertime I'm taking it, or?
No, it was the summertime, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It's still.
Yeah, it's still
pretty
cold.
cold. Yeah.
Like really cold. And like I wasn't used to it because I'm from down here to how cold it was in the summer. I went up there with summer clothing. So I think more than anything, the captain had pity on me, called me to his boat, said, hey, check it out. I can't let you work on my boat. You're not 18. No, but that boat over there, by the time that you get back in and fill out your paperwork, you'll be 18. So if I can get you a job on that boat, I can take you out to them, and then you can work. When you get back in, you'll be 18 by the time you fill out your paperwork. So I was like, cool. He goes, and if you make it through that, then you can have a job on this boat.
What was it for? Was it like crabbing or?
Oh, no. So I started out with Alaskan pollock. They make surimi out of it. I don't know if you know what that is, but like imitation crab, imitation fish, it's all made out of the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pollock. That is basically like a 710-foot processing facility. It's not really a fishing boat. All the fishing boats bring the fish to it. And so I worked that for 7 months. And then when I got off of it, I went to go home. The same captain came and picked us up. He's like, oh, you're going home? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, man, I need a crew for this and that. Are you interested? So kind of just took off from there, I think that in that environment, having the ability to scrap at my age and work as hard as I did kind of set me apart. And I had a good reputation, but then I started drinking really bad, started doing a lot of drugs, got into dope really heavy myself. And I partied, I want to say like 2 summers, my entire check away. Just traveling around Mexico with other dudes that worked on the fishing boats and doing nothing but buying drugs and drinks. And the third summer I came back here and I got 3 DUIs in like 2 months. And they weren't like, oh, you were swerving a little bit. The first DUI kind of was. It was kind of like that. I was swerving and not following the speed limit, so they gave me the DUI. No big deal. Second DUI, I went through the windshield of the car. I was I'd gone up and got my brother DJ in Lewiston. Just to, I think, if I remember right, just to come down and party. Honestly, like partying was everything to me for a long time, right? And on the way down, I had already been drinking pretty heavily before I stopped and got him. We had a bunch of weed, and I think I bought a bottle at that time. But on the way down, we got to council, and council is different now than it used to be. But going into council used to be 2 90-degree turns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one I just totally didn't see coming because I had passed the police station, but I didn't know that that was a police station. I just saw a shitload of cop cars out there, and I was like, because I was doing like 120 miles an hour.
Oh, geez. Yeah, it's like 65.
So I started looking up in there, and then when I look back at the road, that bend in the road is there. So I lock up the wheels, turn, just in time to hit somebody else head on. I'm not wearing my seatbelt. I go flying through the windshield. Get life fighted. They took me and DJ in life fight, which I thought was weird when I thought about it later. But yeah, they took us both from council to St. Alphonsus in Boise. And I remember that they cut all of my clothing off. And I woke up and I was like, are the cops here? And there's a dude that was a nurse. And he's like, nah, they're not here yet. But they will be.
Were you on the helicopter flight when you woke up, or were you already in the hospital?
Like, I woke up for a few seconds, a few times throughout that whole process. I remember standing there talking to the cop. I remember seeing the helicopter blades and like looking around the helicopter, but I don't remember a lot, you know. But I remember waking up, and that's when I was like, are the cops here? And he's like, no. And I was like, okay, I'm out of here. Fuck this. And he goes, you can't go anywhere. And he went to push me down, and I grabbed his face, threw him back. I stood up, and I was like, oh. I had nothing but that hospital gown on, so I'm trying to like grab my clothing from underneath the bed where they had it at, and I noticed that like the pant legs are cut all the way. So I was like, throw them down. And I told my brother, I was like, we gotta go. He's like, you can't go anywhere. I was like, shut up, pussy, get in the car, right? And so we go running outside, and I realize, oh fuck, we don't have a car. I don't know where we're at right now, but I see a Texaco. I was like, all right, run over to the Texaco. I'm going to call my buddy to come and get me. And when we get to the Texaco and I try to call my friend's like, I can't come get you. So I'm in a hospital gown. I'm unrecognizable. Like, my face is so swollen. I had torn, this is how fucked up I was. I'd hit the windshield, and the impact from the windshield pushed my face so freaking hard that it ripped my face off of my skeletal. So all this crap was pushed up like this.
Oh, jeez.
So from here up, I look normal, but from here down, just a big bloody mess at the time, right? And I'm begging these people at the gas station. I'm like, hey, I'll give you $20 for a ride. I'll give you $50 for a ride. And finally, some dude's like, all right. He had pickup, so me and my brother lay in the back of the pickup, go to the north side of Nampa. My buddy lets us in. I end up staying like 3 or 4 days at my buddy's house to kind of recuperate. And then I got me and my brother both tickets. I got him a ticket to Lewiston and me a ticket to Seattle, because I was just going to go back out on the fishing boats. But I ran out of drugs before I got to Seattle. And by the time I got to Seattle, I was in so much pain that I checked myself into the hospital. And when I went to check out, I got arrested.
Jeez.
And got extradited. That was the worst Washington sucks, bro. Like, don't go to jail in Washington. If you're gonna go to jail anywhere, don't do it in Washington. The extradition was terrible, but um, county jail in Washington was 23 hours a day lockdown and 1 hour out. I was like, this is like max.
Yeah, like solitary.
Yeah, I was like, this is bullshit. So I was happy to get extradited out of Washington, honestly. But it took like 3.5, 4 months to get extradited. And then I came back and went to court. And when I went to court, it was in council, and they called all these people to be witnesses against me, and not one of them could recognize me. So they had to let me out on my own recognizances.
Really?
So I was like, oh, party.
So you got away with a DUI then?
No, I didn't get away with it, but they OR'd
What were they
me
trying to charge you for?
for aggravated DUI.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't get away with it. It's just at that time, none of the witnesses could positively identify me. So the judge was like, okay, well, I'm going to release you on your own recognizances because, like, you got a pretty good chance of getting off on these charges anyways.
Yeah.
And they released me, and bro, 2 weeks, was it a week or 2 weeks? Maybe 2 weeks later, right over here on the north side in Nampa, I had been out partying with my friends, and I had one of my friends in the car with me. We go and pick up my son because how did that work out?
Yo, you had a kid at this time? By this time?
No. So the third DUI was while I was already going through all the crap with these other two. I apologize. I'd gotten these 2 DUIs and gotten a rider, right? But while I'm in county jail waiting to go to court for these 2 DUIs and waiting on the third
Can you bring that
DUI.
closer a little bit?
Sorry.
There you go.
While all that was happening, they sent me to Payette County Jail, where they made me a trustee. Was not a good idea. I was a horrible
Meaning
trustee.
what? What is a trustee exactly?
Trustee is going to be an inmate that has access pretty much to all the jail. They trust that person to go and provide meals, do laundry, things like that for the other inmates to kind of mitigate the amount of work that they need to do.
Okay.
I was a trustee several times in Payette County before that, but this time they made me like the main trustee of the jail, and they put me in the kitchen, so I was in charge of the kitchen. And so was my son's mother. She was in the kitchen too. So, they left us unattended for like at least a couple of weeks, all day, every day, right? And my son was conceived in either the dry storage or the restroom in Payette County Jail.
Right on.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. My son's mother, kind of a crazy chick herself, ended up getting pregnant. She went off to prison. We already knew I was going to go do my rider, right?
Go up to Cottonwood?
Yeah, that also did not work out. But she was gone, and they let her out to have my son. But after that, she didn't want any part to do with him or me or anything. She was just kind of, again, smoke in the wind. She just took off. I guess she's in Alaska somewhere now. But I've talked to her once since then. My son was 12 years old when he met her, and she was like, yeah, I didn't feel a connection.
Weird.
Yeah, I was like, you are a crazy bitch.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like, to me, how do you not feel a connection to your own child? Like, it's weird.
Is that her only child too?
No, she's got 3
Oh, jeez.
that I know of.
Yeah. Does she know? Yeah.
It's like, I got 1 that I know of.
Right? Just wave every time you go by an elementary school just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, in all sincerity, like, Payette County Jail was super relaxed on rules. Like, I think probably still to this day, you can probably buy chewing tobacco on the commissary there. At one point, you could buy cigarettes and chewing tobacco on the commissary there. Our drug dealer lived across the street from the jail, so we would just have him throw shit over the fence. Like, it's pretty podunk. And yeah, my son was conceived. I went to do my rider. I lasted like a month on a rider.
So what's
Before,
that like? You get your first, you go to court and you find out you got a felony and now you have to do time. Like, what was that like the first time you went to?
well, I mean, I'd already been through juvie.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And done a bunch of county time as well.
What was your juvie time like too? I was gonna ask you. Like, you had 3 years in juvie, so I mean,
Yeah, juvie sucked. I will say juvie was the worst time that I've ever had to do in my whole life. Um, Here in Idaho, not so much as like whatever. Idaho is pretty easy, but I went to St. Anthony. I was 14. Yeah, I was 14 years old when I went to St. Anthony. By the time I was 15, they had already shipped me out to Shelby, Tennessee. I don't know if you know anything about Shelby, Tennessee or not. There's a youth correction facility there. It's the scariest freaking facility I've ever done time in
really, why'd they ship you out of state?
because I injured a staff member.
Oh,
I'd gotten into a fight with a kid. Kid annoyed me, so in St. Anthony, your behavior used to earn you points. It was their way of trying to bribe you into being good. And you could use those points to buy candy or a movie ticket or whatever, right? And I saved up my points and bought 2 Charleston Chew candy bars and taped them together and beat a kid to a pulp with them.
jeez.
And one of the staff members like jumped on my back. I didn't know it was a staff member. I don't think it would have mattered if I did, honestly. But I was really good at wrestling. And so I hooked his underarm right here, flipped him over my head. And when I did, he landed on his neck and it messed him up for life.
Oh wow.
Sorry, Mr. Kalani. I've apologized. I haven't ran into that dude here in Nampa since.
Oh really?
Yeah, like he is
Small
an
world.
old man, and I was like 19 at the time and saw him. I felt bad about it, but
So you get sent off to Tennessee, and what's that place like?
So a lot like ICC in the layout, but it was 3 tiers tall instead of 2, 3 stories, and the second and third story have chain link fence so that you can't throw each other off of there. But when I walked in, everybody started beating on crap. Kids were lighting toilet paper and throwing it through those spots on the fence. And I was like, what the?
Like you see in the movies.
Yeah, it was crazy, bro. Like, and literally all of as the minority, never had experienced that before. So being the white boy on a tier with mostly blacks and Mexicans was scary as shit. I'm not gonna lie, right?
Yeah.
And
At 15 years old.
yeah, and it was already like they're all gangs. And at this time, the only gang that I'd ever known was my dad's motor club. You know, it did not run like that. So it was scary. And a lot of the times I was powerless, Watch a white dude get beat up and want to be able to help him out. But you know that if you do, you're going to catch that whipping instead of him. So you just got to stand there and watch it. Like, that sucked. So I did a year on my best behavior there before they sent me back.
Dang.
But yeah, I was on my best behavior in Shelby.
I didn't know that St. Anthony used to be a juvenile. It's just a work camp now.
No, there's still.
Oh, is there a different place?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they just converted it.
I think it's still out there. But
Okay.
no, it's a different facility completely from the one you're talking about.
Okay.
So, yeah, I as juvenile did that time. When they sent me back to St. Anthony, and this time I was like, yeah, I'm good. And so after doing a little bit of classification, I guess you would call it, in St. Anthony, they sent me to the Idaho Youth Ranch, which was a ranch that's out in the middle of the desert. I don't know if you knew about that at all, but it was this great big ranch that was out in the middle of the desert north of Rupert.
Okay.
And I stayed there until 6 or 7 months before they released me. I went to the Nampa Boys Home. And I'm trying to think of the name of the road that's on. But it used to be out off of Robinson and some like south.
Oh, okay.
But went there, went to Skyview High School, its first year of opening, and then, like I said, got out there and went to live with my mom in Ontario.
Yeah, yeah. So then you conceived your kid in a county, and then shortly after you got sentenced and went to Cottonwood. Then
Yeah, well, I'd already been sentenced.
well, you already been sentenced, but you're just waiting for the bus to pick you up, pretty much.
Yeah, at that time, I don't know if it was like, I think Cottonwood was the only rider program in the state at that time. And so it's just like when you got sentenced to a rider, you had to wait in county until RDU cleared enough spots for you, and then you could go.
Oh, okay. How long were you at county for?
I was in county for a long freaking time, dude. I was in there for 13 months waiting after being sentenced. And I was a trustee 12 and a half.
Yeah. It's a small county.
Yeah. Finding out that my son's mother was pregnant was kind of wild. So
Yeah.
there was a cop, and his name was Josh. I don't forget his last name, but hilarious guy. Always trying to catch me because he knew what was going on, right? Couldn't catch us for crap. But when he came back with the letter, he was smiling. He's like, "You son of a bitch. I tried to catch you."
So what did you? I mean, they can't charge you for anything, right? I mean, that's
No.
that's on them for.
Yeah, they rolled me up. I was no longer a trustee.
Oh, okay.
And spent the last like 2 or 3 weeks of my stay in the hole.
It's worth it.
Yeah, I was like, totally worth it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of weird because before she was shipped out, I was like, I think she's having morning sickness. Every morning for the last week, she'd been getting sick, but she's fine the rest of the day. I was like, maybe I'm just reading too much into this. And when he came back and I got that letter, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was happy about it.
Yeah.
In a way. Like,
And how old were you at this time? 19?
no, 20.
Oh no, you said you did a few summers out.
Yeah, so like 22.
Okay.
And it's kind of a wild thing about working on a fishing boat and then coming back and being the trustee of a jail is like, I don't think I ever cooked a damn thing. I ordered pizzas. I paid other people to do stuff, but they let me have commissary out the wazoo. Like, I had it made for county jail, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And then they shipped me off to prison. I was like, oh damn, I don't have nothing.
Yeah. At least you went to Cottonwood, but so Cottonwood didn't last long then, huh?
No, trying to think of David Archuleta. So there's a boxer from here in Nampa named David Archuleta. Me and him were in there together on baseball diamond. He's a bully, liked to punk people out constantly. So like the way it worked up there was you would take off your name tag and clip it to the fence in batting order. And this kid would come and move it around all the time so that he could bat as often as he wanted and stuff. So I went and moved it back. And he comes over and he's like, oh, moves it back. So I grabbed it and threw it off in the distance. And he started making a big deal of it. He's like, you know who I am? Because he's a boxer. And I was like, dude, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care who you are. So he came running at me, tried to fight me. I don't remember exactly how it went, but he ended up in a guillotine, choked out on the ball field in front of everybody, including the cops. I was like, man, he's all unconscious. They pulled him off, slobber hanging out. It's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting
flopped your rider.
Yeah. Another crazy thing. I flop my rider. I go back to county, and they OR me. They let me out until I go see the judge because the judge is on vacation. And I'm like, this is where my Canyon County DUI comes in. I got that DUI while I was out on OR after I'd already flopped my rider. So when the judge came, he's like, I don't want to talk to you. It's a maximum sentence because I don't know what's wrong with you. I was like, I'm an alcoholic. And he goes, well, I got the best kind of help there is for you.
Were you an alcoholic? Was it just alcohol, or were you on drugs too at that time? Or
I would do anything I could get
just
my
a big
sweaty
partier.
little hands on, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I never expected to live past 18. And when I did, I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly thought my dad was going to kill me.
So every time that you got a party, you were just gonna go all out, just
Yeah,
you didn't
like
care?
it was like, yeah, have fun, make it the best you can while it lasts, and hopefully it doesn't last long.
Yeah.
But then I got put in prison for 7.5 years, dude.
He sentenced you to the max that he could sentence you to, or what? Did he give you like 7 fixed, 3 undetermined, or like what was it?
So he ran them concurrent, which I was thankful for. So he gave me the 5 years, which was the maximum for the DUIs at the time, and then Judge Lynn Crow of Canyon County gave me 2.5 years on. Well, she gave me 5 years as well. It was supposed to be 10, right? But then I appealed while I was in ICC, and I got knocked down to 2.5.
So when you go to the big prison, what was that like? Not the rider facilities anymore. You go to the yard first for RDU, or
yeah, so you go to, I think it was 16 at the time. 16 house
Okay.
was classification. Or maybe it was 11 house, the old school one up at the front. I think it was both actually at the time. Like riders were going to 11 house, timers were going to going to 16 house for RDU, I think.
Okay.
Honestly, like for me at this point, I was just like, okay, well, I'm probably gonna know a lot of people in here.
It was like 2004 then, right? You said. Something like that?
2003.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dang.
early 2003.
Yeah, I don't know what it was like. I know they've done a lot of renovations, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's this is pre-riot and everything out there. So like the guard stations were, I think, different, but other than that, the houses I think are pretty much the same.
yeah.
Um, but I went out and did RDU. Had a good RDU cellie named Mike Rongo. Rongo is a cool dude. Kind of just gave me the old school guy heads up on everything. Like, they're gonna hit you up for the gangs. They're gonna, all these things. And I was just like, okay, cool. I went to ICC next, and immediately they housed me with a black dude. So I was like, oh, so this is how it's gonna go. I already knew what that meant. I was gonna have to fight the black dude, or all the whites were gonna give me shit about living with a black dude. So
But you weren't clicked up with anybody, right?
no, I was so I have True Familia tattooed on my back, so I knew I wasn't gonna be able to ride with the white boys, and like my honest experience with the Norteños out here was that the moment they got the chance to, they all turned their backs and ratted me out, and were not really all that solid. So I definitely wasn't going to ride with them when I got in prison. So it was just like, yeah, I'm not going to be a part of any of that shit. But there was a lot of like pressure for it when I first got out there. But I got celled up after that first fight with a guy named Sean Kerrigan, Shooter Kerrigan. Good dude. Really, really good dude. Had already been down for like 20 something years, and kind of took me under his wing, liked the way I handled myself, and then gave me advice on how to handle things going forward, because there was trauma, But yeah, ultimately, just I had a few really good dudes that gave me good advice when I went in that prevented me from having to deal with too much BS.
Yeah. Is it possible for someone to go in and not have to click up? Because I
Yeah,
think that's
absolutely.
a misunderstanding. A lot of people think is that you have to, and it's like, where do you think most people get tripped? Is it where like they start owing debts and then they have to do it, or they like where do you think most people end up deciding that they're going to click up?
Acceptance, honestly, man. Like, getting that acceptance, or like knowing that somebody has your back, so you can feel a little more cavalier about things, stuff like that. I think that's probably more why people join gangs. I I was running with the gang members here on the outs, but not while I was in. You know what I mean? I just saw it for what it was, I think, and a lot of people don't. They think it's cool to have that bravado. My best friend in the world, I love him to death, but he's a moron, dude. he got out 3 months after me. I got him a job on the fishing boat with me. I gave him a pathway to success and freedom, and it was too hard for him. So he went back to doing the same stuff, and he clicks up every time. He was PS when he was out at ICC in 2006, 2007, right? Well, they all got stomped out and absorbed by what, SBC and AK now. And so he went to feds, and when I went to visit him, he's got AK tattooed above his. I was like, dude, that's an Idaho gang.
Yeah, it's no good anywhere else.
Yeah, like what the, you're just trying to get the bravado. That I was like, and that's why you're always going to be in the drama, bro.
Yeah,
Like, I started getting all my tats lasered off a long time ago, and I want the rest of them lasered off. I don't want any part of anything. I don't want to look like a convict or none of it anymore.
did you get tattoos while you were inside?
Yeah.
Those are the good OG ones back then. Now they have like the beard trimmers, and you can make a nice tattoo gun out of that. It's like a rotary motor and everything. Back when it was like, it was cool when I first started, because like you find a tattoo gun and it's the magnets put together and the clackers. Like that was a cool tattoo gun. Now it's like you can order one for $30 on commissary, and it's quiet, it's battery operated. You don't have to plug it in. Like,
Yeah, I had a few different dudes tattoo on me that I thought were good dudes, but um just like at the end of the day, I was like, I'm glad I'm getting these off, because like that dude's not a good dude. What the fuck was I thinking?
yeah,
Like, my definition of good dude is definitely different than it used to be.
yeah,
I think you gotta come to a point in your life when you grow up, man, and going to prison was just like, oh, what the hell am I doing, man? Like, I am watching people get maimed. I am watching people lose like decades of themselves to this place. Come in a young, strapping, like fit dude, and you're leaving an old man that looks like shit. Nobody's gonna pay attention to when you get out. Like, I don't want that. Why would I want that for myself? Why would I want that to be the example that my son grows up with?
yeah.
I don't. So
Did you get into a lot of fights when you were in then?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. At first, the whole not being willing to click up thing doesn't make you popular. So to your point, like,
did people
can
send
you
people
do it?
after
Yeah.
you?
Huh?
Did people send people after you then because you wouldn't click up?
I think it was more like the people themselves. I don't think that maybe they were sent. I don't know, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
like people would try and come to me and be like, "Hey, you got to roll with this, bro." No, I don't. I'm not gonna do that. And they'd be like, "You have to. You have to choose somebody." Blah blah blah. And look at us. We're the number ones. Everybody has the same story, right? And I was like, I'm not clicking up with anybody. And eventually they would get offended by it. It's like, okay, well, cell's right here.
Yeah.
I don't wait for somebody to get offended and come back. If you're offended with me, we're gonna do that right now.
Did you get any pressure from the people on the streets that you were hanging out with?
So no, I never heard from them again.
Oh, they never. Okay.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, we're homeboys on the streets. I'm out here putting in work for you. I'm literally shoving my gun in people's faces and taking everything they own and giving it to you guys. And then I go to prison for the shit that you do, and I don't hear from you. I don't get a phone call, a visit, a letter. Never heard from them again.
Jeez.
Like, that's what I'm saying. I've learned my lessons, right? Like, I
Yeah.
got in there and I saw that the people that I'd done so much for out here, and I can tell you, like, I put in work out here for these people, right? And not a friggin' word from them when I got locked up.
There's no loyalty.
No, and then I get out and I hear that they had told people I was a rat and all kinds of. I'm like, dude, I'm in there because of your crap right now. Like, I realized that the DUI is because of me, but when I got OR'd and got that DUI in Canyon County, the only reason I got the DUI in Canyon County is because one of them leaned out the window of my car and shot up another car. I had no idea he was going to do it. Nothing. And he bails out of the car later, it's my car. What am I gonna do? Bail out of my own fare? I gotta go get it later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he just totally did that and left me to take the blame for it. You know, luckily, I didn't have a weapon or like I obviously didn't do it, but yeah, just did that crap. And then because he knew that he's gonna look like a POS for that, goes and tells everybody I'm a rat.
Jeez.
Yeah. I'm like, did the cops ever come to talk to any of you or anything? Like,
Right.
no. Oh, so he's just covering his own ass. But you guys are cool with that.
Jeez. Did anybody come from your family to see you while you were in?
My mom came to see me twice. I basically just told her, like, my mom's disabled, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot for my mom to be able to come and do that.
None of your siblings though, or nothing.
Yeah, so I just told her, I said, yeah, I don't want you to come back in here.
Yeah. What were some of the good things that you like learned while you were in? I mean, the self realizations or anything like that.
Hustle, man. I will tell you that if you came out of prison and you did not learn how to hustle, then you weren't paying attention. Period. Like, I came out of prison having just been a big dummy all my life, never really learned anything. I went immediately back to the fishing boats when I got out of prison, right? Like, like that's where I know where to make money. But this time I didn't drink, I didn't do any drugs. I just stuck with it. I bought myself a little laptop so I could watch movies in my bunk when everybody else was at the bar. And for the next year and a half, that's what I did. I got hurt on the fishing boats and almost lost my left arm. And when I was back here getting the surgeries and going through the physical therapy, I realized, like, oh yeah, I'm never going to be able to do that again. I'll never be able to fish again. And I started thinking about it. I was like, oh shit, I don't know how to do anything else. I've never taught myself anything else. Like, I ordered business books and stuff while I was locked up and taught myself business that way, but I'd never put it into practice. I'd never really done anything. And so I was like, well, I guess now's a good time to start, right? And went and got my laptop, started like Googling everything I could that was business related because I decided that I wanted to own my own business. And I decided to start an import-export company. And I did that. I got my sureties bond, my security bond for import-export, and started importing bicycle engine kits and selling them all over the U.S. And that did really, really good. And then I saw some garden gnomes on that I wanted to sell. Honestly, they're cool because they light up at night, right? They're little lanterns, so it looks like they're squinting. And I was like, I thought it was kind of cool. Old people eat that shit up. So, so did a bunch of that and started snow cone shacks and started learning how to build my own online stores, and everything is going great, man. Like, honestly, like when I got out of prison, I was hustling hard. It was all legit, but I made a lot of freaking money in a very short period of time when I got out of prison, and it seemed like Midas touch. Like everything I touched turned to gold. And then my wife got in a really bad car accident and had to have some surgery, and we didn't have insurance. Like all this time I was making this money and stuff, I didn't even think about like health insurance and all this, you know. The accident was my wife's fault. So we're basically going to be bankrupted, and we just basically had to dial back every bit of spending and live poor for the last, like, I don't know, 8 years or so. But we lost the businesses and everything, and now I'm to the point where I'm about to start rebuilding that. I've built out an AI powered sales platform that I'm about ready to launch now, and yeah, life is good. But it has been a wild trip, man.
Yeah. So you were talking about that hustle culture. What were you doing in prison for the hustling? Like, what were you doing to get money in there?
So when I first went to prison, I initially went to the farm, and my hustle was tobacco. I was from around here, so it was easy to get a hold of people and have them drop off tobacco in certain places. I had a crazy girlfriend who would get a log of chew, wrap it up in a black plastic bag, and tape it all up, and then just drive and throw it over the fence, like in the middle of the day at the farm, because people don't expect that, you know? So, you know how when you would go from the farm to the yard on the backside, you got to go over or not over, but in front of the visiting station for the farm.
Yeah.
And then when you roll past that, there's a ball field, and then there's an dorm, right?
Yeah.
This bitch, they'd be rolling. She'd just hang halfway out the window and throw it over the fence between the ball field and the dorm
Jeez.
and drive off. She did not care. We'd just grab it and walk it in. Like, sometimes it's so simple to do things. You know what I mean?
Right.
People just made it more difficult than it needed to be.
How long were you at ICC before you got to reduce your points and go to the farm then?
That's crazy. I never had points to justify ICC. I was always community custody the entire time I was there.
Was it because you had a violence history or anything? No?
No, I got a lot of points for DOR for the tobacco, right? Because I found it in letters where I'd basically told her, yeah, at this time, throw it at this place.
In a written letter?
Yeah, because that's how I was doing it back then. Like,
Yeah.
just write her a letter. Go do this. Go do that. Go do that. And they had been monitoring my mail at that point and busted me. So they sent me to ICC. I think I had 5 points.
Oh, you went to ICC because of the first thing of the
Because of the tobacco at the farm. But then I'm at ICC for maybe 6 months before those points fall off. 6 months or a year, whatever it is, before those points fall off. And I'm back down to community custody. But now I'm in medium maximum for the remainder of my incarceration, basically. My last year, I went to the farm, then to St. Anthony, immediately got rolled up at St. Anthony and brought back to the farm and sent to Gibbons Hall, and then to Nampa Community Work Release.
Okay.
Somebody in Gibbons Hall was scared of me. Somebody that I'd had problems with before, and so I wasn't there for very long either.
Where'd you spend the most time at then?
ICC.
Okay.
I started out JKL. I tried to do programming, but again, I'm not programming material, bro. I bit a chunk out of Alan Ashbaker's face, and they were like, yeah, you're not getting out.
What was that oil thing you were telling me about?
So that was on JKL. I was on J tier, so that must have been on K.
The middle
one. And that was like my first month of being at ICC. One dude got shanked a bunch of times right in front of the door. Like, the CO is standing on the other side of the door. And they shanked him probably 30-something times. And then, I want to say a couple weeks later, next tier over, or not next tier, but we're on J and it was on K. Dude gets his face burned off. And then you see him walking him out. And it just doesn't even look real. It was ballooned up. Like, it wasn't like you would think all melted off. It was like, huge and red. Like, it was crazy looking.
So what had happened for the people that didn't hear the story, he had boiled oil. He got oil from commissary, right?
Yeah. So ICC used to be a private prison, and they had a company called Mid-States that handled the commissary out there. They sold completely different commissary. And one of the items that they had was cooking oil. And so this guy had collected cooking oil from a bunch of different people. He had opened and altered it as a hot pot, so it just continuously gets hotter and hotter. Boiled that oil and threw it in somebody's face.
Jeez.
And I guess when it came down to it, he did that because the guy was gay. Only reason.
That's crazy.
And so, yeah, like, I recognized that I didn't want to be there very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, crazy out there. ICC used to be, and I don't know what it's like since I left, but it used to be brutal, bro. A very brutal place to get locked up at.
Yeah, I've heard different things from people. I've definitely heard that they used to call it gladiator school.
Yeah, that's when I was out there. The cops used to set up fights all the time.
So how'd they do that?
For example, there used to be a lot of gang fights, right? Like Norteños and Sureños fighting was the big thing back then. Um, so you'd get a group of them fighting in Chow Hall at ICC. Um, they remove them, but when they take them back, let's say the Sureño, right, and put them on a tier full of Norteños, knowing what's going to happen when they do that, right? A lot of that crap happened back then. They intentionally put sex offenders on my tier because I would fucking hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
In
got
the
my
North
name
Wing,
Menace
right? Yeah.
because I would beat and rob sex offenders. I'd menace them. Every commissary, every item that you ordered needs to be on your bed for me to inspect and take what I want. Otherwise, I'm going to beat your ass. I'm going to take a string. I'm going to cut open your box. And I'm going to take all your stuff anyways. And that's going to be every week. And, eventually they get tired of it and they try to buck up. And so you beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact the cops put them there for me to do that.
A lot of people, I don't know if it was different back then, but a lot of people think now, like sex offenders, when they go to prison, that they're gonna get
Protected.
they're gonna get that kind of treatment and stuff. But
They get protected now.
they get protected, yeah. So that's. I wonder when they really started that switch. When it was a private prison, was it more like that than when it was the state side? Like when you had that like different experiences.
So I'll just be honest, dude. It depended on how bad the chomo pissed off the cop. Right? Like there was a lot of chomos and yeah, they were segregated on their own tier. But there was a lot of chomos that didn't get to be segregated and on that tier too. And that's because they were the ones that wouldn't keep their mouths shut. They always had a grievance of some sort. Cops are people, man. Like they get tired of that crap too. They don't like rats. They don't like snitches. They don't like whiners. So, okay, you want to whine about that? We'll put you in A tier and see how it goes for you.
Did you guys ever have any times where like people would come in, they're like, I don't have my paperwork? Because they would paper check, right? And then if you don't have it, then is that like a red flag that would go up?
Yeah, it's when you come onto the tier and we want to see your papers, you don't have to produce those papers, right? But if you don't produce the papers, you're going to push the button, which means you're going to request to leave. And if you don't, or if they don't let you leave, you're getting hurt. Like, there's no two ways about that. You either have your paperwork or we're going to hurt you. Like, and I don't feel bad about this part. I'll be honest with you. I don't feel one shred of guilt for what I did to sex offenders in there. They hurt children.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, that's a thing that, at least from my experience from being there, like on the other side, I never seen anything too crazy because they would always PC up, or we knew that they would already be their crimes and they would be segregated. So it was interesting to even think that they would have them in the North Wing, knowing what their crimes would be. I don't know if they would refuse housing, or I guess it's different times.
Some
back
of them
then, too.
refused to PC up, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple of them that could fucking scrap, bro. Like Jeremy Brown, Jesus, that dude could scrap, bro. Right? They sent 3-4 dudes at him at a time, and this dude's just peeling them back. Like, he didn't need to go into protective custody because he knew that he could handle himself on the tier, and he was. I'm trying to think of this other cat's name that was in there for basically like at a public park had kidnapped this girl and drug her into the bushes and was molesting her in the bushes, right? And goes to prison. That's who he was, and he refused to PC up. This dude was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna PC up. Fought everybody that came at him. He is a badass, honestly.
So what do you do with a guy like that? Then you just let him be because he can fight, or what?
No, I think they just kept going at him until finally the administrators didn't give him an option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you get enough messed up people, and you do nothing about it, you're at fault for that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they let it be quite a few people. Like that dude could scrap.
So once you develop a name for yourself that you can take care of yourself, obviously, and you're not a sex offender, then like, did people just kind of let you be? They know you don't want to click up. They know that you can take care of business. Like, how's your life after that first like initial year? People knowing like he's not gonna click up, or did you keep just the whole time? People were always still trying to get you to clip it up.
I'm gonna say like the first 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the first 3 years, it was not easy, bro. Like it was constant drama shits that was either to do with gangs or prison stores or like just constant little drama shits. Like, okay, I loaned you this, now you're not gonna pay me because you're a gang member. You think I'm not gonna come and collect from you?
Oh, like you were
Unfortunately,
running a store and they weren't paying
yeah,
you. Okay.
yeah. And it's like, unfortunately for you, I don't care if you're in a gang or not. I'm getting my shit.
Yeah.
And so, dealing with drama like that type of stuff. But eventually, you get known as a good dude, and people kind of stop coming and messing with you because they know if they do, all these other guys that think you're a good dude are going to have a problem with them.
Yeah.
Really doesn't have anything to do with me being a badass. I was never a badass. I tried to avoid fights, bro. I really did. But when I did get into a fight, I made sure to do fucked up shit right away. Like,
Yeah.
really, really bad stuff.
Just going for the win, not for a fair fight.
Yeah, like I brought up Ash Baker. I got a bit of chunk right out of that dude's face right there. I don't feel bad about it. Some people thought that was maybe a one-off, so I did the same thing to Sparrow, and then I bit a chunk out of top of Tommy Fippin's head when I fought him. Like, built a reputation for doing something that's really messed up. I gouged somebody to where they're going to be blind in one eye for the rest of their life. I did these like super brutal things so that I wouldn't have to keep fighting. Like, I wasn't trying to fight. I was trying to protect myself.
Did you ever get charges for any of those?
Nope.
No? Dang.
No, and like a dude named Sean Mulbauer. I'm surprised I didn't get charged for that cat too. Me and him got into it over a radio that he sold me, and he basically called me into a cell. So I was like, all right, let's go. We go in, and at first I'm just dodging his punches and like just keeping him at distance. But then he clipped me in the eye with one, and made me mad. So I knocked him out, and then I picked him up on my shoulder and body slammed his face into the table that's built into the cells at ICC, and it split his eye like all the way around, dude, like a big C around his eye, horrible gash. I'd already knocked him out. I just wanted everybody else to see how messed up he was, and he wasn't messed up yet because I'd knocked him out with one punch, So I did some messed up stuff to make sure everybody else saw how bad it was.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that's the type of person I was. I was calculated. I was thinking about things,
Yeah. Dang.
But it worked. I'm not gonna lie, after that, like, nobody on the tier really want to mess around too much,
Everybody paid up?
Yeah, well, that particular time it was over a radio that he sold me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, like, he sold me this radio because it had a blown speaker. It was a super tuner, which back then was like the shit. And he sold it to me for like $20 because it had a blown speaker and it kept turning off. Like, it had a short somewhere. There's a lot of crackheads in prison. So you can get a crackhead to fix that crap for you for next to nothing. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. Well, then Mulbauer comes back wanting the full payment for it. Like, I was like, what do you mean, dude? He's like, yeah, well, now it's worth this much.
Yeah, because I did
Again,
the work.
one of these guys that's clicked up that's rolling around with everybody thinking he's suave. I was like, I'm not paying you. I'm paying you what I agreed to pay you, and that's it. He's like, oh, you're going to have to do this. And I was like, well, now you're not getting paid because you tried to push the issue.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, come in my cell. I was like, and now you made a big scene of it, so I have to hurt you.
Yeah, you don't want to be called out on something in front of everybody and not do anything, right? Because then you get a different name.
Yeah, so he made a big scene, so I had to hurt him. And so once I knocked him out with one punch, I was like, that's not quite enough. Like, I tried to be calculated not to have to fight as much as.
Yeah.
A lot of people liked fighting. I didn't like fighting, dude. Like, there's a possibility that this could get messed up.
Yeah. And you never know if they're going to be not just going with fists.
Right.
Like you said, that guy that got stabbed like 37 times or whatever, right? Like, you don't know what they're gonna be. If you might be coming with fists, but if they got like a lock in a sock or anything else, then
Yeah, you just never know what's gonna happen out there. Like it's crazy, and people are constantly plotting on one another out there, right? Like it's it's not paranoia if it's true, and it's true. Like they are all trying to figure out how to get over on one another. Every freaking one of them. That's why you can get out of prison and learn how to hustle so well. Because the entire time you were in prison, you were guarding against other people doing it to you, or you were doing it yourself.
you said you got really good at poker too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
did you play poker before you went in there? Or is that just one of the things you had to learn, like the different card games that they play, and you just got good at it?
Yeah, so I mean, like I'd played a couple of games of poker before I went to prison. Um, I got hustled at poker when I first went to prison, which is kind of like, I guess it's either going to turn you against it or turn you towards it, right? Um, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I got hustled because they were smarter than me right there, and so I took it as a challenge, and I learned I learned all kinds of games, but the only ones that I really cared about was Texas and trying to think of the other one. It's basically like Texas Hold'em, only it's 4 cards. Omaha, high-low Omaha. Um, so in Texas, we all know how to play Texas Hold'em, but in Omaha, you get dealt 4 cards, and you can either go for the high hand or the low hand, right? And you get to pick 2 of the cards that were dealt to you, and use them on with the cards that were dealt on the river. So um, it was really really cool because if you're smart, you know that if you're the last person bidding in Omaha, it doesn't matter what you want to do. Just watch everybody else, because if everybody else is going high, all you got to do is go low and you win, right? Or if you know that you got a good hand, then you can go high and beat everybody and take both the high and the low. And it was just all that type of figuring it out. I played basically like 10 hours a day of poker while I was in ICC.
Dang.
Loved it. I ran the books, so it was also how I made money, like running tournaments and stuff.
Yeah. That can get kind of dangerous when people don't pay up their debts on gambling, huh?
Yeah, that's why I was the one to run the books. So it was because like I always paid my debts, and if anybody didn't pay me, I would go fight.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, like I wasn't a badass, bro, but I would go
Yeah.
fight.
You could handle it. You could handle yourself.
I'm a pretty decent sized dude, and if I got angry enough to come at you, like people knew I was upset. Most of the time they would just pay up. It's not worth it. Very little amount of money that you're playing poker for, really. It's not worth what I'm going to do to you if I have to fight you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember you're saying too that you didn't find any kind of faith inside prison because the churches were just full of people doing gay stuff or drugs, right? Like so you don't want to get in any of that scene.
Yeah, I mean, so Canyon County, when I got to Canyon County, I was having the DTs pretty bad. DTs. I was sobering up.
Oh, okay.
And I was going through withdrawals, like really, really bad while I was in Canyon County. Hallucinating and sweating, like just horrible for like days on end. And I remember some people came to see me from the Seventh Adventist Church. And they were talking to me. And while they were talking to me, I felt better. And as soon as they left, I felt horrible again. And so I was like, oh, I want to like look into going to church. And when I went to prison, man, ICC, the very first time I went to church, bunch of people in the church, guy's got his hands on some guy's head, praying for him, and I'm listening, and he's saying words. He's cussing and saying all kinds of just like crazy crap while he's got his hands on this guy's head, and everybody else is like, I was like, man, I can't be a part of this. So I left, and then I went to another church event to try in prison to try and like find faith in prison, and it was like a homosexual meetup. It was just where all the gay guys went and were doing nasty crap with each other.
Jeez.
And I was just like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do that either. So I decided to wait until after I got out of prison to seek God.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the church now. I'm LDS. I have been for 13 years now, I think.
What was that point when you got out that you wanted to go and do something different then?
Immediately started going to churches when I got out. Before I got out, I knew that I wanted to be a better man.
Yeah.
I think 6 months before I got out is when I finally realized that I want to be a better man. It wasn't even necessarily that I wanted to avoid prison. I'm not afraid of prison. You know what I mean? I handle myself pretty well, and it is what it is. But I wasn't happy with who I looked at in the mirror. I just wasn't happy with the person that I was becoming. I was mean. I was a very mean person when I was in prison. I wasn't nice. I didn't really have any friends. You know, didn't have any out here, obviously. Nobody came to visit me or write me or anything when I was in prison. So I decided that I wanted to be a better person, man. Nobody wants to be alone forever, I don't think.
Yeah. Did your kid ever come to see you when you were in prison? Because you
Once.
Yeah?
Yeah, my mom brought him one of the 2 times that she came to visit. And that was actually the time that I asked her not to come anymore and not to bring him too. It was horrible.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't get up and walk anywhere with your kid. You can't hold your kid on your lap without a guard there wondering what you're doing with your kid on your lap. Like, it's not a good environment to expose your kid to. Like, visually, you can tell that everybody in there's got issues. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing to your kid, bringing them in there?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, I just decided that it would have to wait until I got out. And then they tried to send me to programs. The parole board did. And I told them I'm not program material. They didn't listen. They sent me to programs anyways. That's where I bit the chunk out of Ash Baker's face. So they're like, oh, well, we're going to send you this other program. And I was like, I'm not doing any more programs. I'll just top out.
Yeah.
That sucked. That I was 2.5 years in, knowing that meant 5 more.
Oh, really? At that point, huh?
Yeah, I was like, it was like getting punched in the stomach.
So we knew the programs weren't for you, and that was something setting in then, and you were going to do 5 more if you had to top out. Was that a hard decision you had to make, knowing?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, honestly, the thought of freedom, right? Like, thought of getting ass. Like, you've been locked up 2.5 years. You haven't felt the touch of a woman. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course, there's temptations.
Yeah.
I just knew I wasn't going to make it, bro. Like, I wasn't going to make parole. And it wasn't because I planned on coming out here and being a criminal. It was because I don't like being told what to do. If I'm being 100% honest. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to come and go through this shit and then get out and be told what to do on top of it. Like, no. Like, when I'm done with this, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And that's what it ended up being.
When you got out, what did you want to change for your kid, being a different dad than you grew up with?
Man, that ain't hard, right? Like, I always told myself if I ever have kids, like, I'm going to be a better dad. But realistically, that's like, okay, don't get them hooked on drugs. Don't beat them. Don't do terrible sexual things to them, and you're made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being better than my dad was easy. Right. But, like, I always knew, that I was meant to be this successful and good person, right? But nobody ever showed it to me or how to make that come true. And I wanted to be that for my kid. Like, most of us that get out of prison and end up going back, it's because it's hard out here. It is hard out here. It's hard not to. It's easier to turn to drugs, selling drugs and stuff, right? Because you make more money, even though it's illegal. You didn't actually have to do crap. And I wanted to be the guy to show my kid that, like, if you just try hard, you'll do so much. I never tried when I was young. I chose the same route my dad did, drugs and crime. And I wanted to show my son that you don't have to have anybody else tell you that you're going to succeed for you to succeed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'll never give up on trying to succeed. Right? And once I succeed, I will move on to the next challenge, and I want my son to be like that. I want him to grow to never be satisfied and always know that he can always do better and be more successful so that he can lead his children to success as well. My dad was a loser, but not because he wasn't smart. He just never saw anything through. And I wonder sometimes if that's because nobody set that example for him, or nobody ever made him believe that he could, or because it sounds corny, but that stuff's so important. Like, it's so much more important than we realize, because we grow up to say, oh, that's some pussy shit. You know what I mean? What a sissy. Stuff like that. But really, it's important to let your kids know that you support them, that you believe in them, and that truly, if they want to do something and they're willing to actually put in the work, that there's nothing that they can't accomplish. I never had that, so that's what I would be for my son if I could.
Yeah, that's awesome. It seems like you're doing really good because you showed me that video of him getting like awards and stuff, right? And I mean, it seems like I know he made a pretty touching statement in there about you and how he looks up to you, and how didn't start out with you around because you were locked up, but everything's got better now. So I mean, it sounds like he's on a good path.
Yeah, I cry when I watch that video sometimes still, because I don't really deserve the praise that he gives me. I haven't been the best father to my son, like, period. And I can say up until I got released from prison, but I mean, we're all humans, man. I've stumbled along my way since I've had him, since being out of prison too. Not always knowing what to do as a parent or whatever. So he gives me a lot of credit. I appreciate that, but he's an amazing person on his own, and he has taught me a lot about. I wish I could go back in time and use the knowledge that he's taught me over the years to be better dad to him. But just his ability to do that lets me know what kind of father he's going to be. I'm very proud of him. Very, very proud of him. Yeah. I mean, you think about the situation that he had to grow up in because of me and because of his mother, and it's not fair. But for him to grow up through that and then become the type of man that he is now, like, oh, I'm very, very proud of him. Yeah.
It's cool to think what generational curses you're stopping, because you've made a lot of changes from what your dad did, and he's gonna change whatever he's gonna learn from you, and like by the end of him, like whatever happened from your dad is gone out of that generational curse now. So it's just cool to see everybody making these changes for the better.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he's the best of us, like, already, and so I think it's just going to continue to get better and better. He just got married earlier this year, and I know that he and his wife are going to be great parents. That's like a big relief to me. So I've mentioned several times my brother, who my full-blooded brother, and like the effects of child abuse from one to the next is always going to be different, right? But my brother's worse than my dad, I think, was at this point, and I don't talk to him anymore. I haven't talked to him for a lot of years, but you can look it up. Talking to my grandma one day, and she shows me a news article where my brother's in jail in Idaho Falls for beating a woman up with brass knuckles, and you read all this crazy crap, it just makes me so thankful to know that my kid's always gone through some things because I wasn't around for the first 8 years of his life, right? But he didn't grow up with the types of experiences that are going to turn him into that type of person. I guess that's how do you be proud of yourself for not being at peace?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For
Right.
not making your kid a terrible person.
So you and your brother both grew up with like the same kind of experiences. What do you think was the difference between the way that you took a path in life and where he took? If you guys both had the same experience growing up, was it just like a mindset
My brother's a
switch?
psycho, dude.
Okay, just like a mindset thing then.
Well, I mean, I say I followed my brother around like a dog, but my brother was just as abusive to me too, growing up. My brother has stabbed and hung me. He shot me in the leg with 22 when we were young. He's sadistic. Like he's a crazy, crazy person. Like, and I don't know why I ever loved him the way I did. Like, same with my dad. I don't know why I love my dad either. He's a horrible and horrible, horrible person. It's just the way I'm built, you know. My brother is completely different. He should never be around children because I think that there's a possibility of him abusing them in multiple ways. So I don't. Now I know he would physically abuse them,
Yeah.
or at least in he has with his children in the past, you know. But it's easy to go, oh well, he's a piece of shit for that, and not look at what he went through too. You know, it's kind of a hard, like, how do you quantify it?
Right.
You know.
Did you ever get a chance to talk to your dad about what he went through as a child? Was anything passed down to him from his dad?
I think there definitely was abuse in his family. Growing up, we heard stories from my dad about like his two brothers getting into a fight. One of them climbing a tree to get away from the other one, and that one cutting the tree down with his brother in it. Like just rough living. Like my grandparents lived in Osaka, which is, do you know where Osaka is?
Sounds familiar.
So Orfino and Osaka are basically
okay,
the
yep.
same town. It's just that little river from
Yeah, there's
Dvorak.
there's like a, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My grandparents lived on the way up to Dvorak, and originally they converted a wagon into their house on that property. Like poor, and I'm sure they had 15 kids, so I'm sure those kids grew up rough, you know. As far as who abused them and how much, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they were abused, honestly.
That's the thing I think about a lot is that, like, even for my stepmom, I remember her talking about how her mom would make her go out to the tree and grab a switch to get beaten with. And if it wasn't big enough, she'd go get an even bigger one or something, right? And so I think about that and I'm like, it's just these things got to be passed down. And that's our responsibility as parents is like to stop these generational curses. Because if we don't stop them, we're just gonna hand them off to our kids to have to deal with, and that's not fair to them, you know?
Yeah, and I've definitely like I've come up short in some ways in that respect. Like when I first got my son, first like year of having my son, he hated me because his uncle had convinced him that I was forcing this to happen and that I was making him leave and that he was never going to be able to talk to those guys again. Just made it bad, right? So my son hated me for like the first year, and to try and counter that, I kind of just didn't ever get on him about anything. I didn't punish him. I didn't, for like the first full year. Well, then he's a jerk, right? My kid like behavior is horrible. My wife and I aren't getting along, and we're like borderline going to get a divorce because my son's behavior is so freaking bad. And so I was punishing him one day, and I went over the line. I spanked him to where he had handprint bruises on his ass. Like that's totally inappropriate. But I'm going to come out and admit I did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw the little bruise on his ass, and called my wife, and I was like, call the cops. And we don't call the cops or anything, but like I was like, I know I stepped over the line.
Yeah.
That broke me pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have those moments too where I start freaking out on my kids, and then I realize this is exactly what happened to me, and you have to stop yourself right in the moment. And yeah, it's good that you like notice that these things happen though, because otherwise
Yeah, I'm not
it
proud
just
of that.
gets too down the road, and then and then you go apologize to your kids, and yeah, it's crazy though. I mean, just kind of how common the child abuse thing is, though, that people don't ever understand. A lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors, and like it might look like an okay family, and then you don't know, and then
You know,
years down the road is when you start to find things out, and you're like, how did I not see this? You know?
it's funny that you say that because, like, I think about it and I'm like, in my particular situation, I'm like, how the hell did they don't? Like, everybody knew this shit. You know, like,
Yeah,
everybody knew this and nobody did anything about it. That's the truth of it.
yeah,
Like, for me, it wasn't like this thing where people didn't know, right? My father was arrested several times and never got in trouble for things like, and these aren't little things like, I told you we were in McCammon. So Greg, a guy named Greg in McCammon, that's all I'm going to say his name, but my brother ran away once and stole all my dad's stuff, sold it to Greg so that he could get the money for a bus ticket to run away, right? Greg comes and with my dad's stuff and he's like, hey, your kid sold me all your stuff. I didn't know it was your stuff, but I'll just sell it back to you for what I gave your kid for it. My dad's like, no, I'm taking it all back. And you're not going to get a dime out of me for it. And the guy said something. My dad knocked all of his teeth out right then and there with that hook. Boom. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to the bar. Cops will be here soon. Just tell them I'm at the bar. They go over, put my dad in the car. An hour later, they bring my dad back to the spot where they knocked this guy's teeth out. His teeth are still on the ground. They let my dad go.
Did you guys have pull or something, or
I
like from
don't
the
know,
motorcycle
man. Like,
club, or what?
now that I'm older, I'm like, was my dad a snitch or something? Like, I really question it because, bro, my dad got busted with a lot of stuff and never did any time. And it was not a secret. Like, people knew that we were abused as bad as we were abused. Nothing ever happened.
Jeez.
Like, yeah, people knew. Like, people saw bad abuse happen to me on several occasions and just nothing ever happened. To the point where it's like, why bother telling anybody about it? Then I'm going to get in more trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. May I use the restroom and vape for a moment outside?
Yeah, dude. I was just gonna say we'll wrap this thing up too if you want, but yeah.
What's your goals for the podcast?
I was gonna try and get to 100 episodes by the end of the year, so that's like 62 more this year I got to do.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Eventually,
as
I'd like
far
to
as
get
like,
monetized, but
are you not monetized now then?
no, no, it's gonna
Not
take
on
a
any
long
platforms?
time.
Okay.
No, I think it takes a lot. Like you have to get a lot of you. I don't. I think
It
I only have like
depends.
200. I only have like 200 followers or 215 followers on YouTube right now. So
Yeah, what
I
about
gotta
on
get pretty
TikTok?
high. Like 2,000. But that just all came in like the last week since, or last 2 weeks since that prison one.
That's time to monetize. Just so you're aware. You have over 1,000 followers. You can begin to monetize, and by monetizing, it'll actually help you grow your platform.
I thought it was like 5,000. I knew you could go live after 1,000.
No, it's
but
there's yeah, you can monetize at 1,000 as well. So 5,000 is if you want to sell products,
really?
I think. So it's all about getting like free samples.
Oh,
You have to
maybe
have a
that's what I
certain
was
amount of
thinking of
followers
then.
and stuff. I can look into it for you because there for a while I was monetizing off of TikTok.
Oh, really?
Made really good money for a little while. Yeah.
Did you have your own like show or something, or
Man, I went from streaming video games on Twitch
yeah,
to trying to do it on YouTube, and somebody's like, "Nah, just follow me over to TikTok." And I think I was on TikTok for like a month and a half, and I hit 10,000 followers.
really? I got a
Um,
buddy that's been trying for years to monetize
yeah, I
on
was just
TikTok.
like regular videos of myself that I would cut the funny like few seconds out of an hour video or whatever.
Yeah,
Like I would go and do fishing trips with my buddies and just cut little clips out of that. Or we would go. I've gone to vacation to several different places now, and small clips of that, and post videos of that, and they blew up. I I got to the point where I could sell products, and I did a Carhartt sweatshirt video that got like 1.3 million views or something like that on
yeah,
it. And from that, my follower count just like
yeah.
totally took
You
off.
never know what's gonna take off.
Right, like off
Just
of a
gotta keep
stupid video,
posting.
and it was literally me sitting in front of the camera like this. And why wouldn't you buy it?
Yeah,
It's $5.
right.
It's a sweatshirt. It's $5. It looks good. Why? Of course you're gonna buy it.
Yeah,
That was the whole video, right? And yeah, I mean, from there it took off. Every video that I posted from that point got a lot of views, so I just started selling stuff on TikTok, and I think I made like 13,000 in 1 month selling stuff on TikTok.
wow. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a goal by the end of the year, is just to be monetized on all platforms, especially like YouTube. But that's a bigger one. That one's more like long form stuff. So shorts do okay too. The shorts help you get the subscribers,
So
the to get eyes on you.
the software that I'm building is a sales platform, but it's meant to be a marketing and sales platform for any industry. When I got out of prison, I didn't know anything. I told you, right? And I got my computer and I started learning business and web development.
Yeah,
Right now, I've built out an AI native platform that will essentially take a user through the journey of selecting their industry, describing their industry and their company's place within that industry. And from that, have an AI set up every marketing and sales tool that you need, and then act as your business partner to help you run your business while you use those different marketing
dang.
tools. So every social media platform that you have, it would automate all of the work for that. So you're more worried about making content.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you're going all in on that now?
Yeah, I've been working on that for since June.
Have you had any other? Have you ever done any other programming before this, or is this kind of like
This is by far the biggest thing
the
I've
biggest one?
ever,
Yeah.
yeah. I've done a lot of things since deciding to learn.
Yeah.
I've built a lot of websites. I started out with learning WordPress and then went to a coding boot camp for 3 months where I learned how to actually write code and the way to architect programs, which is more what I do now than anything. Like, yeah, I'm the coder, but I use AI to do most of my coding for me, and then I just debug it. Um, Architecting is the important thing. So being a prompt engineer and being able to architect a program to where it's secure and works the way it should is really the path that everything's moving towards now.
Yeah, AI is crazy how big it's getting. Like I'm still so new on that. Like I know ChatGPT and that's about it. But
Yeah, well, I
like
mean,
there's
imagine Chat GPT that can do stuff for you,
yeah.
right?
I know there's
Like,
so many other ones out there. I have not even a clue.
like take your podcast for example. Let's say you wanted to make a commercial for your podcast, you would just tell your AI assistant, "Hey, I want to make a commercial about this for my target demographic, and I want it to either be funny or I want it to be serious or whatever." And maybe give it a like a environment description, and it'll be able to create a video from it
Wow.
from that, and literally talking to it, no more
Yeah,
having
yeah.
to text. So that's what my program's for.
When do you think you're gonna be able to launch that?
Soon, very very soon. So this project wasn't really the initial idea. This was a pivot because as I was building out another project, I was like, oh, I need this. And everybody else's solutions just kind of sucked. Like they didn't have enough options or they weren't flexible enough for what I was doing. And so I pivoted to make this for this business. And then I was like, oh, actually, everybody needs this crap. So just make two businesses.
That's awesome, man. Where can somebody like follow along on this whole thing? Are you gonna do you have like a site you're gonna launch it on or
Yeah,
anything?
it's salesvelocity.ai. It's currently up, but you have to have a pin to get in because it's still in development. I would say it's 98% done. What I'm doing now is more just going through and testing user journeys than anything else. Like, if I'm a user, I'm going to use this as this way if I'm in this industry, and I'm going to use it in this way if I'm in this industry. That's important because there's a lot of tools that I've built into this, and they're all every single tool. So take social media, for example. How many tools are in social media? Well, we got X, we got Facebook, we got all these different ones. I've built an AI for each one of them. All right. Then I build a social media manager that manages those ones. And that whole set is one tool for my AI. So rather than my AI trying to go out and do all these tons of different things, I've architected the system to where these AIs do it for it and then report back to it so that one AI can control the entire system.
Dang. That's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm proud of it. Since you're a man of faith, I'll just go ahead and share this with you. So after getting out of prison, I visited a bunch of different churches, investigated a bunch of different churches, because that feeling that I had from those people that came to visit me in Canyon County Jail, I wanted it back. I knew that that feeling would allow me to go through life without being an addict, without being a criminal, without going back to prison, if I could hold on to that feeling. But man, I went back to that same church. I went to a bunch of other churches. I could not find that feeling anywhere.
Yeah.
And my wife, who was my boss at the community work center, she wasn't at community work center. She's at a business I worked at when I was at community work center.
Yeah.
She made me feel that way. Like, simply being around Jennifer makes me want to be a better man. And as soon as I realized that, I was like, yeah, I got to keep her in my life, and she went to church at an LDS church. And so that was the one church that I had been avoiding going to out of all of them, honestly. Right.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'll go check out Catholic. I'll go check out Seventh-day Adventist. I'll go see about some Mennonites. Like, I
Yeah.
even went to the Mennonites, bro. Like, I just didn't get that feeling from them. And honestly, I wasn't getting that feeling from my wife's church either, but I got the feeling from her.
Yeah.
And so I prayed, and it wasn't a voice like you and me are talking right now, but a voice inside of my head just said, you need to get baptized. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And at the time, I was also going through a lot of court for my disability for my injury on the fishing boat. And so I was also praying, like, yeah, well, I need to know about that money, like, give me some direction on that money. And every time I prayed about either one of those things, the answer was always the same, which is you need to get baptized. And so I started to recognize that as a prompting for what it was, and yeah, the rest is history. I decided to get baptized. I became a member of the church. I know, like, I watched a video where the guy was like, oh, a Mormon church is weird. I get it. People have their opinions. That's cool. I haven't seen all the weird stuff, but I also know that I don't believe in the same way that other people believe. I believe that every single human perceives things differently. And therefore, what other people are perceiving that as. I may not perceive that as, whatever the case may be. All I really know is it works for me.
Yeah.
Like, even members of my own family, like, oh man, you're gonna join that church. You're gonna, I'm like, look at what it's done for my life. I've
Mhm.
completely changed my life around. I'm not a millionaire today, but I will be soon, right? And it's completely changed my life. My faith in God has completely changed my life. And those people that say, "Oh, well, that church is wrong," or this is, and they're not happy with it, are the same people that would be happy if I found the solution in a pill.
Yeah.
If me taking a pill could make me behave well and make me change my focus on life and start going a more successful route, then you would be happy with me taking that pill. But when it's a religion, for some reason you can't accept that. It's weird to me, but people are that way.
Yeah. No, I think everybody needs to have some sort of faith in their life for sure. Like if you have to have at least some groundwork of what to believe in. If you don't believe in nothing and it's only on you, then you're gonna fail yourself every time. So whatever you choose. I mean, I have Catholic friends, I have Mormon friends. My whole family is pretty much Mormon, so I'm like the black sheep anyway, you know. But like I
Obviously, growing up, my family wasn't religious at all. Like,
yeah,
my parents never went to church. In fact, my father spoke so poorly of anybody that did go to church that, like, yeah, it wasn't the norm. But honestly, man, like, I don't know when you decided to accept the Lord as your savior, but my life has changed since the moment I did. I can definitively say that.
oh for sure, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I would definitely agree.
it's it's funny because, not often, but every once in a while, uh, I'll run into somebody that knows me from like forever ago, and the first thing they always say is, "Oh my God, you're still alive!" Like, because I was so wild, and doing just senseless crap. Like, that's how much my life has changed. Like, nobody would have thought I would even live this long, just
Yeah,
because it was balls to the wall all the time back in the day.
yeah,
Um, it's been a crazy life. I guess the biggest thing that I've taken from that though is you always hear the saying, "Oh, if I had to change, I wouldn't change a thing." And I always thought that was stupid. I would change all kinds of everything. You know what I mean? Like, I would change everything. But when I look back on it now, and like, I am finally happy with who I am, and so I understand that saying finally.
yeah,
Yeah. If I had to change who I am today, I w- I wouldn't. I wouldn't go back and change the things I had to go through, and they were horrible.
yeah,
Like, my dad had this thing, like, when he hurt you, he wasn't hurt. He wasn't he wasn't hurting you to hurt you. He was hurting you to control you, to scare you, to make you do what he want. Does that make sense? What I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, my dad had my dad had issues with sexual abuse, but it was never about sex. It was about hurting you. You know. Um, Yeah, that's what it was. It was about hurting you and being more powerful over you and making you to where you could do nothing. And um, I think for a long time I didn't realize that, and I let me be bothered by it because I'm a man. I'm not supposed to have had something like that happen to me. Um, but I think accepting the Lord has finally made it to where I can accept that that wasn't me. That was his problem. His issues and stuff, and making it easier for me to become a better person.
yeah, for sure.
Um, all of the crap that I suffered through when I was a kid sucked, but it helped me to be the person that I am today, and I like myself that much now that I would go through it all again to be myself again today.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Like you have to go through a whole bunch of things to be able to be that person, be stronger. Like if you want to be strong, you're gonna have to go through moments where it makes you feel weak, and if you want to be patient, you're gonna have to feel times where you just, like the exact thing that you want is hard to get. You just have to go through all the things. And it's like someone told me it's like a bladesmith isn't judged by all the beating and everything that you have to do to the sword. He's judged at the end, like the quality of the blade at the end of your life, right? So it's like all the dings and everything that you go through, like, and all the heat and everything that you're getting forged into is what made you into where you are now. And so that's just, it's also preparing you and preparing future generations of things that they might be able to go through, and that you can help them through because of the things that you've gone through. Like, you don't know whose life you'll impact because of the things that you've gone through, and it's easier to take advice from somebody that's gone through these things than someone that's, been a pastor their whole life, or a bishop, and never touched alcohol or never had to go to prison. And then there's this person that's looking for guidance, and they can't go to him and ask because he doesn't understand what they're going through.
Yeah, no experience to draw from.
Yeah.
Like, would you say that's the truth about yourself? Would you go through the things that you've been through to be the same person you are today if you could?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to do it all again. I mean, there's too many things that had to line up and things that I had to go through to make me move from Utah to here and everything. Like, but I would never have the life that I have now, or be the person I am now, or like the chaos levels that I go through would be way higher, if I didn't go through everything that I went through. And I wouldn't change it. Like, that's what I told everybody when I released my story, and they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry we didn't see anything. I wish we could change it." I'm like, it happened because for a reason. Like, I think that's the thing that faith helped me, was like, when things are gonna happen now bad in my life, I don't take it as like poor me. It's like, cool, this is gonna, maybe not cool, but like, I know this is here for a reason, and there's something coming up in my life that I'm gonna need this moment for. I can't see what it is, but I know there's a plan for me, and I'm just gonna have to ride this out and go into it with the best of faith.
It's a wild ride when you do that too, though. Like, 'cause it's scary, right? That's the most scariest thing is what you don't know.
Exactly.
And when you're like, okay, I just have faith. Like, it is scary. It's hard, but man, like, I've got a good life, and I gotta give it all to God. And if I didn't actually have faith and just follow my promptings, then I wouldn't be where I'm at. Like, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not rich, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's more important.
Yeah, absolutely. What's next for you, man?
So hopefully retirement, brother. I'm building out these two different pieces of software right now, which should be ready to go relatively soon. Honestly, I don't know from there. So I've talked to my wife about starting a nonprofit with one of these businesses for domestic violence. I just feel like there's not enough awareness about the type of abuse that a lot of people go through every day, still to this day. And there's a lot of victims out there that don't really have good solutions for their situations available to them. So a lot of women would leave the abusive situations that they're in, but they know if they do that, they have nowhere to go, or the places that they have to go are somehow associated with the abuse. I would like to start a nonprofit that gives these ladies a job and a place to go that's networked across the United States, that gives them the ability to safely change locations and provide for them and their children.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I think that's
I was honestly thinking of getting my cannabis license and doing cannabis and hemp products, and then the business that runs in building a apartment complex in the upper floors of it where those ladies could stay. And I know weed, but it's legal, and I feel like it's profitable enough to help fund the helping of the women.
Yeah. And they just changed the federal laws on it now.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't even take a profit from it. It would literally 100% be for domestic victims. Or domestic violence victims. I really struggle with my brother turning out the way that he did because I don't get it. Like, how can you turn out that way after everything that we went through? I've never understood it. Um, I've never understood why he's mean though either. I was never mean. Like the brutal things that I did in prison, biting chunks out of people, gouging eyes, and all that shit. That was for protection. That was to protect myself. That was never because I'm a mean guy. You know, I've never understood why he ended up mean or why he thought it was okay to hurt women. Like, I don't get it. I don't like it. Um, I want to do something about it, but obviously we can't go out and like beat up all these dudes and hope to find every abusive relationship in the world. So by offering an avenue that these people can escape it, that's my dream.
Right on, man. I'll be watching then. That'll be cool. Is there anywhere that people can follow you at?
Just on TikTok, a true menace right now. Yeah, I mean, honestly, until I got all this other work done, I'm just gonna be focused on the AI stuff, and I'll probably be back on social media more when it's done.
Right on, man.
Got focus.
Yeah, absolutely. All in. That's how you got to do it. Get it done.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
I'm really thankful for you having me on. Watching your story was powerful, man. Honestly, it's hard to talk about some of this stuff sometimes, and I feel like watching you be willing to come out and share your experience and be vulnerable makes it easier for people like me to also do the same. And hopefully that'll open people's eyes to how common it really is in the world. Like that kid that you see that might not be fortunate, might be way more unfortunate than you realize, you know, and maybe help people.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a couple people reach out to me personally from that Wild Chaos one. They're like, I thought I was alone, and I found so many similarities that I've never heard of for any other abuse situations that I went through, and it was like, thanks for sharing. I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't expect any of that to come out of it, you know. And then, it's like just like you said, it lets people feel like they're not alone.
Yeah, like maybe even talking about it will prevent them from continuing it to their children. Like I don't really know what I hope the benefit is in the long run. Um, like I don't know what to hope for, but I know that nothing but good can come out of exposing things, you know. And um, I'm hoping that this really does help somebody else, like to have a good view on it. Like, yeah, it sucks that you had to go through it, right? But the choices that you make now determine your future, not the choices that were made for you when you were younger.
Yeah. It's like the sailboat controlling their sails, not the wind.
Yeah.
You control
Again,
your
man,
direction.
really appreciate you having me on, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad we got to meet, and thanks for commenting on a TikTok video.
Yeah. It's a crazy world we live in.